Welcome back to the studio, the 5th annual Sydney Harbour Challenge, and what a fantastic race so far. Loving this. Team Red Bull, Pacifica, Cronulla, Mooloolaba, Northern Beaches, Cronulla, a couple of teams back-to-back, and that's probably our top 6 or 7 at the moment, and just tracking their times at the moment. Pacifica and Red Bull, they're averaging about 15, 16 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, they're moving.
And now seeing live pictures. Very soon we'll go to Kalai, who's out on the water, and back to the studio now. So just trying to work out where they actually are at 15 kilometres an hour. It won't be long until they're going around Bradley's Head. So these crews, it is fast and furious.
They're moving really quickly.
So we think it's Team Red Bull that might slightly have an advantage. And there is our GPS. So Northern Beaches are there, Cronulla are there.
There's a Kaika.
The other team that's travelling fairly well. Now, there's a race within a race, and you saw that earlier when your team won. But there's a Masters men's team that look like they're currently in 6th place, and that would be Cronulla. So, a fantastic performance by them at the moment to be sitting top 6. So we'll try to pick up that boat for you, the Cronulla Masters men. So Team Red Bull, Pacifica, Cronulla, Mooloolaba.
They've got a senior master, man.
So what are your thoughts on Mooloolaba? What would their strategy be? Just sitting in behind at the moment? Behind the top 3?
They'll definitely be watching each other out there to see what's going on, see if there's potentially a better line or not. So they're definitely going to be watching each other.
Outrigger Australia have a senior Masters men team. There's a Royal Hong Kong Yacht Club team. And we're just about set to go to our support boat, so I hope you're enjoying the coverage. This is the race of the day. The Open men, fast and furious, averaging around about 15 kilometres an hour. Steve Allen alongside me, Nona Cuff, who's done the Molokai on 20 occasions, and a winner here this afternoon. Have a look. You can't stop grinning from ear to ear after a fabulous win with Mooloolaba. But right now, for the first time in the men's race, Kalai.
All right, we've just passed Middlehead. We're heading in a little bit, we'll be into Bradley Point, but right now this is our leaders right here. Team Red Bull Ba'a seems to just be cruising along in first place. Maybe about only a boat length back. That's Team Pacifica from right here in Australia. Mike Mills Tom steering them. Behind them, that's Cronulla in 3rd, and then I think we have Mooloolaba in 4th and Northern Beaches in 5th. That's kind of where I'm thinking we're calling it right now. All of these teams are making the most out of the water that they're being given. Sorry if you weren't able to see some of our coverage as we came around the Middlehead area, but they were using it. They were surfing, and one of the things you're going to see, especially out of this Red Bull team, is that when the opportunity arises, they're going to pick up their stroke rate seamlessly in unison with barely even giving any type of signal. That they're all going to feel the opportunity of the nose of the canoe dropping down. They'll pick it up and be able to surf just for a little bit, maybe a change or two. But it's kind of nice to see the different stroke types, the different blends going on here in the field, but they are basically cruising along. That is a nice, comfortable pace for that Red Bull team. Right now they got Puni Freitas in seat 1, that's Kainoa Tanoai in 2. Behind him, Trey Cox in 3. Kea Kua Nolan is in 4, and that's Kikoa Kao in 5. And of course, they're steersmen here from Tahiti. They're asking us to pull off a little bit, give them some room to work. But right now, you can see they're just kind of seamlessly stroking along. They're missing Daniel Chun from last year's team, and it was their 2, 3, and 4, and of course Daniel Chun that were part of that winning team mixed with EDT paddlers from Tahiti that won this year's Molokai Ihoi, which is widely considered the World Championships of long distance outrigger canoe paddling. So this team doing a beautiful job here. They're probably about a quarter through this race, looking pretty calm and comfortable. They've been paddling roughly 15 or 16 minutes and just really starting to get warmed up at this point. Nice pace, They haven't really left the rest of the field behind. It is still fairly tight, but it's starting to kind of disperse itself appropriately. This Pacifica team is hanging right with them, though. Good job on these Aussies for their paddling today. They're looking pretty smooth. Mike Mills-Tom's got them going well, and we'll continue to stay with them and watch their paddling as they head into the second half of the race and head on down in toward the urban part of Sydney Harbor there towards the bridge and the Opera House. But thank you for joining us. This is our live coverage of the 2018 Sydney Harbor Challenge. And again, defending champions Red Bull in the lead by just a bit over Pacifica.
And a thorough update on Red Bull, and they are just looking absolutely fantastic. Let me ask you the question I just asked during that cross. What makes a great paddler?
Lots of dedication, many years of just really dedicating yourself to that. If you want to be a champion, you do make sacrifices along the way, and you've got to just have the right mindset. So it's mental, it's physical, it's all of that. Plus the support of obviously any family members who want to support you in that endeavor, because it occupies a lot of time. It's like having a second job.
So there is Team Red Bull. And so the yellow tip at the front and green at the back, and they're looking very comfortable.
They're looking relaxed.
So in second, third and fourth at the moment, we've got teams from Pacifica, Cronulla and Mooloolaba. So the Pacifica team that we mentioned at the top of the coverage, Matt Nottage, Sean Simonek, Carl Perry, Dean Blake, Paul Chong and Mike Mills-Tom. So they are the current Australian national champions.
Yes.
And in third place, Stuart Myhill, Ben Bricknell, Steve Hinton, Daniel Bova, Josh Casemore and Clint Roberts from the Cronulla. That's boat 641. But back to live action with Team Red Bull. And just kind of surfing those swells, aren't they? You see a little bit of boat lift. They increase the rating and get real momentum off some of those ocean swells. So they're probably at a part of the harbour now where you're not far from the heads. So there's a lot of water moving, as you can see.
And you're going to get a lot of backwash. So you've got an incoming tide coming in now. So we had low tide at 10 o'clock when the women were racing. So now the tide's starting to come in. So they're going to have a lot more water action going on.
Just trying to pick up that boat there, but Mooloolaba in fourth place. So, of course, alongside me, Nona Cuff. And Mooloolaba's had a fantastic day, particularly in the women. Northern Beaches have had a very good day as well. So they were winners of the first race of the day in 1 hour 46.28 in the open mixed. And then they finished third in the open women's.
That's Pacifica there. Looking good.
So Pacifica, can you pick up who's in what seat for their crew?
Yeah, at the moment, that's just what they just said. Yeah, that's Matt Nottage in 1. You got Millsy steering there. So you got Sean in seat 2, Carl Perry in 3, Dean Blake in seat 4, and Paul Chung in seat 5, and of course with Mike Milstrom steering.
So there's a fantastic view. So they're actually, looks like they're making a move.
Might be camera angle.
So,
but no, they're coming up pretty quick.
So taking an inside run as we get close to Bradley's Head.
Oh, they're tip to tail now, so probably going to give them a little nudge.
Yeah, so exactly what we want to see. And
well, they're going to push them. That's going to make them push harder. Oh.
So this is just incredible, some of the footage. Hope you're enjoying it. The Sydney Harbour Challenge, thanks to Destination New South Wales, Ocean Paddler Television, AOCRA, and thanks again to the streaming guys who've done just a phenomenal job with drones. The drone footage is amazing, isn't it?
Oh, it's pretty good. That's pretty special to be able to see all that.
We thought we might have lost a couple, but no, they're back in business.
I think you lost one.
So Red Bull heading towards Bradley's Head and now being challenged by Pacifica. Hopefully we might get an aerial view here of third place, Cronulla and Mooloolaba. And according to our GPS tracker, there's another Cronulla team. So that's their senior men's team, Cronulla, also tracking in the top 6 at the moment. A little bit back in the field if you're wondering how your friends and loved ones are going. I can see Port Hacking. There's a Singapore crew as well, so truly international field.
Now, some of those guys that came from that Singapore cruise, they had won the men's division in the Singapore race, which was last December.
So the Fraser Coast are also appearing on the GPS, and they're about to round. So there we go. There is our GPS.
Right by Burleigh Heads.
We're about to go around Bradley Head, and there was a little bit of a move coming from Pacifica, but Red Bull have got there first.
Now, there was a little run just around that. When we wrapped around it, got a few runners. Yeah, you can see the sport boats had to speed up now just to catch that because there's a good wrap right there.
So explain that for our viewers at home.
Oh, it just means they've gotten out of the, a little bit of current and then had a little push.
So up the rating, but have a look how close this is. This is absolutely fantastic.
They're being challenged right there.
So 22 kilometres for these crews, or 14 miles. I mean, it really is for these open men. It almost is like a sprint, isn't it, compared to some of the longer races they do?
Well, that's pretty much the length of our long-distance races here. So they go anywhere from 22 to about 28 Ks.
So long and strong at the moment, Pacifica.
Yep.
Just looking absolutely amazing. Timing,
they've
technique.
come up just a bit on them, too, so...
Timing,
letting
technique,
them know they're
and
there.
Power. So there is a snapshot. So back a little is Cronulla, followed by Mooloolaba, Cronulla again, and then a little back in the top 10. So the top 6 have kind of cleared out at the moment from what we're seeing. Waiting for some more data to come our way in just a moment. And we'll look to cross back as well to Kalele. And, geez, what a great race this is. Similar to the women's race that we saw earlier, where the Hawaiians and Californians went at it. Now we've got the Hawaiians, the Red Bull team, up against Pacifica, and they're going toe-to-toe.
Lovely timing. Look at the timing on that. Just nice rhythm, rocking together, swinging together.
Oh, it looks beautiful. Looks absolutely beautiful to be on the water. Just wondering how much this wind will kick in, the nor'easterly. So you said yesterday around the same time was
yeah, I went out just a little bit later, but they're going to get it more in their face. As soon as they come back around after that first turn, it'll be straight in their face.
So our current top 10, I'll get you to talk us through this. So Team Red Bull and Pacifica.
Yep, so you got Team Red Bull, then you got Pacifica, really, really close. Cronulla right there, their first team, their open men. Then Mooloolaba. Then you've got Northern Beaches, Cronulla Masters men. Then you've got Ikaika and Cronulla 2, and then another Ikaika team. So, and then the Mooloolaba Senior Masters. So there you go. Senior Masters are doing well.
So just trying to pick up what boat number Mooloolaba Senior Masters is, and we'll give you that crew for you because it's been a fantastic effort from Cronulla Senior Masters, from Mooloolaba having numerous teams in the race. Really shows the depth of some of the racing in Australia. But Red Bull have got it just slightly. So past Taronga Zoo, and then they'll be heading for Kirribilli and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. The Sydney Harbour Challenge, great to see everybody outside our marquee watching the live coverage. The pictures are absolutely amazing. Here we go again. We've had cruise liners. You had to navigate those as well.
Well, luckily he was moored, so we didn't have to worry about him. But we got pretty close to it coming back. So if they're up there already, they've already gone past the... oh, no, maybe not. I was thinking they've already gone past the party boat, but that might be the next corner. So these two, the lead two boats have broken away a little bit from the other guys.
So again, you can see Pacifica just trying to take that inside line, and Team Red Bull, this has been fantastic from both of these crews. So they're basically renewing their rivalry, 1 and 2 last year, followed by Cronulla in a shortened version of the race, but this is what we've all come to see.
Well, that's a really good race right now. It's nice to see when someone doesn't actually just pull away and it's just a race by themselves. So it's really nice to see a competition going on. See, at this point, they'd both be able to hear each other calling changes, calling the hut. So you know they're there.
So a couple of times Pacifica have tried to run through the inside, and Red Bull have responded. And here we go again.
So they're getting a bit of wash there. I just saw their armor just pop. So you can see a bit of the wash going on now. So that'll be from a lot of the ferries and a lot of the other boat traffic going on there.
So Pacifica and Red Bull toe-to-toe. What a fantastic men's race, the Sydney Harbour Challenge 2018. Brought to you by Destination New South Wales, AOCRA, and also Ocean Paddler Television and the streaming guys doing an amazing job. Speaking of streaming, some drone footage above Pacifica as they make a move right now. So you can see on the left-hand side of the shot, just a second ago was the Opera House. And, well, something's happened back here.
I'm not quite sure.
So we might get a replay of that. So it looked like there was drama back in the field.
Well, that was a turn cam that's over by the party boat.
So now Pacifica jump in again behind Team Red Bull. And starting to get a little more choppy in this part of the harbour. You can see some swells building for both of these crews. And we're just about set to go to Kalea, who's on our support boat, who's done a fantastic job all day. Love the work. In fact, we've named him Mr. Smooth. He is that good out there, and we'll get an update from him in just a moment. So they're almost near Kirribilli House, and we're about to go live to our support boat to get the latest. At the moment, Red Bull and Pacifica going toe-to-toe. But let's go live now.
All right, just a couple of minutes ago, our leaders came around Bradley's Head. Now we're headed up almost to the bridge, and we'll have our turn marking the halfway of the point coming up very shortly. If we can motor up a little bit, we're going to see that our defending champions, Red Bull, are still riding in first place. But this team from Team Pacifica is doing a superb job today. They're being basically stroke for stroke with this Red Bull team, driven by their steersman, Mike Mills-Tom, and they're putting on quite a show of their own right now. Of course, Red Bull looking very smooth. They're kind of in their zone. This is pretty rough, topsy-turvy water, and as you've been able to see, there's a lot of boat traffic compared to our first race of the day. And as the afternoon continues on and it gets windier, all these beautiful sailboats that Sydney Harbour is well known for continue to make a lot of traffic for our paddlers in our race today. So right now, Pacifica trailing just behind Team Red Bull as we head into the halfway point of our race. Some of the Australian teams that are in this top 5 boats, we're going to say right behind us in third place, that's Cronulla. In fourth, I think that's Mooloolaba. And in fifth, Northern Beaches is looking good as well. So those are our top Australian crews, rounding out the top 5. And of course, our defending champions from Hawaii, Team Red Bull Va'a. So stick with us on our continuing coverage of the men's race, our final race of the day here at the 2018 Sydney Harbour Challenge.
So thanks again to Kalei, and on their way towards the Harbour Bridge, our final race of the day, and I've got to say it's been absolutely spectacular. Alongside me, Nona Cuff, who was a winner in the women's race earlier today. And right from the word go, from the Northern Beaches winning in the open mixed in 1 hour 46.28, followed by Team Gold Coast, and Rockhampton, Rocky, in third place in that open mixed. It's just been fabulous to watch. And live pictures now of Pacifica. They just haven't been able to get their nose in front. So a couple of times, Nona, they've tried to run down the inside. A few times they've ducked in behind. And as you can see, these boys, a lot of testosterone. They can all hear each other. But I think it'll be game on once they turn this marker down near Luna Park.
Definitely, definitely. They know each other's there. There's no question.
Just tell us, just give us a little bit of analysis from what you're seeing from both crews at the moment. We just saw maybe adjusting where they were heading. Tell us more.
Well, they're looking to see, obviously, in the water surface, which is a bit bumpy, as you can see. So they're just trying to find the best line, one that's got the less current. Looking to see, because now they should be able to be pretty close to see the bridge. So now there's 3 boats. Okay, so we're a little further back now in the field. So you're back by fifth and sixth, I think. Okay, now you're back up to the lead guys. Yeah, I think that's Northern Beaches that we just saw there.
So the GPS is telling us Red Bull, of course, and Pacifica, who we've watched for the majority of this race. That looks like, is that a Bondi boat perhaps? Pacifica, Cronulla in third, Mooloolaba fourth, Northern Beaches, Cronulla, Akeka, Cronulla, Mooloolaba have got their second team as well, and Cronulla with the second team, followed by Port Hacking. So back with our GPS at the moment, and we're seeing averaging, look at that, 14,
yep, 15.
Wow. So obviously some swells out there near the Harbour Bridge. So 15 kilometres an hour is absolutely flying in this type of sport. The OC6. So it'll be really interesting, Nona, to see who will turn first here.
Well, it will be, and you don't want to impede with each other. You don't want to have any sort of contact, because that'll take you off your line.
So they've tried a couple of times here, Team Pacifica. They've tried to run down the inside. They've jumped in behind Red Bull, and now they're making a run for the turning marker. Johnny.
Well, it's really nice to see the race from this perspective. I saw it from the water, so now I get to see it from a support boat, so that's pretty cool. These guys are working hard here.
So now we're able to get some splits. So obviously there's nothing between Team Red Bull and Pacifica. And you can see just how choppy that water is at the moment. Then we're 28 seconds back, Nona, to Cronulla. And Mooloolaba now almost 1 minute behind in fourth place. Northern Beaches, 1 minute and 5 behind. And then back to Cronulla, who are around about 90 seconds, 1 minute 32 to be precise. So great pictures here down near Kirribilli House, the home of the Australian Prime Minister, if you're viewing from overseas. So shortly underneath the Harbour Bridge. And Johnny Puakea has joined us in commentary. Johnny, welcome. How are you enjoying the Open Men's race? This has been absolutely fantastic. And look at this as they head toward the turning marker near Luna Park.
No, it's fun to watch. Red Bull, obviously, those guys are really good, and they're training so hard and been practicing, really good efficiency and technique. And then to see the Aussie crew next to them, giving them a little bit of a run is fun to see,
So side by side, they were 1 and 2 last year in a shortened version of the race, and this has been absolutely fantastic. For our viewers back home, Johnny Puakea, tell us your story, the Johnny Puakea story.
My story, I don't know, grew up in Hawaii, spent a lot of time in the ocean. My dad's a canoe builder. His dad was a canoe builder, so I kind of got sucked into it. And now here I am doing clinics and teaching and coaching and, building canoes and stuck in the sport that I was stuck in at 16,
Tell us about canoe building. We spoke about them earlier. What do these weigh? What are they made of these days? I know the OC1 can be made of carbon and can be super light.
All the stuff we're doing right now or that I'm building or working with is carbon fiber, real lightweight, fast racing stuff. OC1s are, 17 pounds now, and some of the 6-mans we're building are the Unlimiteds, in West Coast and other places are 145 pounds. Very stiff, very strong. And then, back in the day, you had what my dad does. He still does it. They're 400-pound koa canoes originally dug out of a log. And it's a pretty interesting thing because when racing started out, they had, it was all koa canoes in Hawaii. And then fiberglass came into the scene. And the koa canoe, to get it under 400 pounds and still be strong is really tough to do. So canoe weights were 400 pounds for fiberglass so that the koas and the canoe, the fiberglass could race together. And it was making it even. Now you see kind of a die out in the long distance races of koa canoes. So we're getting lighter and lighter with the carbon fiber stuff and kind of pushing that limit. It's fun.
The original boat would have been amazing to paddle.
They still are. They really,
still
really
around.
are. Yeah. It's you'll see in Hawaii they have a regatta season, a sprint season. There'll be 30 of them lined up on the beach, and they're just gorgeous.
Just trying to see what number that Bondi boat is. Is your eyesight? We've just lost the shot because we're about to get to the first turning marker, and nothing separating Team Red Bull and Pacifica. That team that's Matt Nottage, Sean Simonak, Carl Perry, Dean Blake, Paul Chong, and Mike Mills-Tom. And the Team Red Bull, we were privileged to have Kakoa in the studio with us earlier today, and he was just in awe of some of his teammates, and it looks like they've got a slight advantage. So underneath the Harbour Bridge, the incredible landmark here. If you've just joined us, Harbour Bridge opened in 1932 and 439 feet or 134 metres high and just over a kilometre long. So around about 0.7 of a mile if you're viewing overseas.
Yeah.
And so now we've seen Pacifica. So they tried to run up the inside, then they sat behind Red Bull. Now they've gone to the outside as we head toward this first turning marker.
And they'll be able to see that marker. So they're lining themselves up to try and navigate that turn.
Back in third place, Cronulla, 28 seconds behind, and Mooloolaba in fourth. And they're around about 58 seconds behind. So down near Luna Park, and you can see from the graphic there, that is the famous North Sydney pool. And this day has just been amazing to watch. I mean, it's a showcase of Sydney as much as anything else. What a gorgeous jewel in the crown this is for Destination New South Wales.
Well, it's a beautiful venue. I mean, it's my first time here, and the event itself is, I was just saying earlier, I think this event can grow pretty big because you're right in town. I mean, you have beautiful weather. It's in the harbor. There's a great view. It's things to look at.
So we just saw
Okay.
five.
Here we go.
Talk us through this, Nona, because here we go, round the turning marker.
These boats don't turn very well, as John can tell you. They're very linear, so they like to track. So they're pretty hard to turn. It sucks to the bottom. So you've got to have your 1 and 2 help you out. Your steersman is doing a lot of work back there, trying to get that boat around.
So have a look at Pacifica now, and it is on. Look at the boys put down the power. This is brilliant. So I thought Pacifica might try to run through that inside again, but what a race to the finish we're going to have. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. By the way, we saw a shot of 5:47, so that is Port Hacking. A little back in the field. I'll try to give you the exact location where they are, but that's the crew of Cameron Pyatt, Joel Beluski, Stuart Woodger, Steve Winner, Kyle O'Brien, and Pete Williams. So in the Sutherland Shire in Sydney, extremely competitive club. And seeing a graphic now, we'll try to give you the exact place of where Port Hacking is. That, you can see a red graphic there. That's Cronulla. That's a senior men's team who are currently sitting top 6.
Oh, they're doing awesome. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Well, right now, after the halfway mark, for most of the top teams, you're going to kind of be thinking in your head, this is where the race starts. The race isn't in the beginning or the first 5 or 10 minutes or half hour. 2-hour race, roughly, about an hour to go. This is when these guys are thinking about, okay, have I eaten right? Am I drinking at the right time? Is our energy good? Are we together? And into the wind a little bit at the end. I mean, it's the last 45 minutes is when they'll probably put the hammer down.
So I mentioned about Port Hacking. I can give you the exact update. So they're currently 12th, and they're 2 minutes 55 behind our leader. And then that Cronulla Masters men's team. What a fabulous performance. They're currently sitting 6th, Nona, and they're 1 minute 32 behind the leaders, the star-studded Red Bull and Pacifica. So well done to that Cronulla Masters men's team. And we're hearing now that there's rain falling. So the forecast tomorrow is not great, and it looks like it might be coming early. So we've been privileged. It's been beautiful weather through the day, but now some rain falling on the course. That won't affect these guys. It's just putting the power down.
It actually might feel better.
Yeah, I
might
think they're going to like
it.
Yeah.
The thing they got to watch here, though, is once they make that turn and they navigate the turn and they start coming back, they're going to have all the other incoming boats coming at them. So they've really got to pay attention to make sure that the guys that are incoming stay inside and the guys coming back are on the outside.
So another team that we've seen a few times, it's the American Dragons. So can you tell us more about that crew? They're a Singaporean team, is that correct? So the American Dragons from Singapore, they've got.
They might also be dragon boaters. So usually when you got the name dragon in there, they're also dragon boaters that have crossed over to become outrigger paddlers. So yes.
Yeah, I saw some video of their website or their paddle site last night. I had dinner with them. They invited me to dinner, and I hopped in. They had about 40 people, and they're super fired up on paddling. It's pretty cool.
So I think Brisbane, they actually combined their clubs. So they were a dragon boat crew, and now they've combined into dragon boat and outrigger. So good to see them in action. And they've had a good day in previous years. So we're seeing quite a bit of Bondi at the moment as well. And there is Noosa. So in the women's race, you know better than anyone that the Queenslanders were fantastic. They filled 4, 5, 6, 7, with Noosa in 7th place in the Senior Masters. Caloundra in 8th place. And then we had the Californians again. So California 2 and 9 with the Dana White and the Dana Green teams. The Dana Green team second, Hawaii first in the women's race. But back to the men, and some of these teams still yet to reach the Harbour Bridge, but our two leaders are on their way home with Red Bull and Pacifica.
Oh, now you can see the rain.
So
it's not a lot, but it'll probably cool them down.
So that is boat.
That's Mooloolaba coming back. So they've already done the turn.
So we should get an exact time of where Mooloolaba is. It says 57 seconds behind the leader. So Team Red Bull, Pacifica, Cronulla 28 seconds behind. Northern Beach is currently in 5th. And then that Cronulla Masters men's team. And look what awaits them on the way back. So we'll try to get you the official race time at this stage as well. The fastest time of the day, 1 hour 46:28. The Northern Beach is in the very first race of the day. So, Johnny, how long are you here for, my friend?
I'm here another week. Been doing clinics for a few days now, and I have a couple more, and then I'm going to find some time to look around and check it out.
So tell us about the clinics.
It's been really fun. More stroke mechanics and helping people understand what and why they do what they do in the water. And trying to videotape most people, and we get in the classroom, we look at it, we say, okay, this is what you're supposed to look like, show them some of the best people in the world. And then I showed this is what you're doing a little bit wrong here and here and here. And, everybody kind of thinks they paddle different than they really do. And then you show them on video and they go, oh my God, is that me?
Yeah.
So you get it's pretty fun, and it's been a really good feedback on it.
Yeah,
it's been good.
Tell us about stroke mechanics. So it's very scientific.
It's, there's a lot of feel involved with it. And I think we complicate it a lot. Like we say, turn your wrist or move your hip or something like that. And we kind of get away from what it really takes is a feeling in the water, locking that blade, understanding how to load it, and pull yourself to that point, and being patient enough for the boat to get there and doing it together. Great
catch and pull yourself past the boat.
Yeah, lock the blade and pull yourself to that point every time.
What about rotation?
You need enough, but not too much. That's how I look at it, yeah.
So seeing some crews, there is the famous Luna Park. And some crews still coming down. I'm just trying to work. So that is a Cronulla crew. Well, in 3rd place. We're going to go back to the water with Kalai, who's done an outstanding job all day. So Cronulla in 3rd, Pacifica and Red Bull, they are on their way home. And we just saw some of the crews still on their way towards the turning marker. So what a fantastic race it's been. Can you pick it this far out?
No. No.
I'd like to try to, but I'd be afraid to.
Yeah.
It's going to be a drag race, that's for sure. Let's go back to Kalai on the water.
All right, gang, you can totally forget what I said earlier about it being hot today. As you can tell, we came under the Sydney Harbour Bridge and got a bit of a downpour, allowing all of our crews to cool down. However, the wind and the traffic, the boat traffic, are still big factors here. This is one of Cronulla's teams back here. They're running in the top 10, and we're kind of following out with them. And you can see there's a lot of this crisscross in the traffic right now. Red Bull and Team Pacifica are running really neck and neck. And considering that Red Bull is defending not only Sydney Harbour champions, but world champions as well, that's a pretty spectacular performance from our homeboys here of Team Pacifica. Otherwise, it is still beautiful out here, just exquisite, and it's a good day to paddle. A bit rough. There's going to be a headwind that you can expect coming up here in about 15 minutes, all the way into the finish line. But as you can see, it's a lot wetter and a lot cooler than we had expected earlier. So Not a hot race today. Sunny with a chance of showers, nice and cool. A great day to paddle here in Sydney Harbor.
So Kalei doing an outstanding job. We thank him. Mr. Smooth, as I like to call him. Nona Cuff is with us in the studio. Johnny Puakea also with us. Great to have you. Any shout-outs for back home to our international audience?
Yeah, I hope everybody's watching this because it's a pretty cool event, you know. We were talking earlier how I say this could be a really fun event because people now are looking for events and races. You know, so if you go somewhere and it's fun and it's a new scenery and you look around, you're like, and that's what you remember. You know, everybody goes, who won that race? And everybody goes, I'm not sure. But when you look at it, you go, I remember how much fun I had.
So our updates are telling us it's 4 seconds between Team Red Bull and Pacifica. So very similar to the women's race earlier where it was Hawaii up against California. And they just went toe-to-toe the entire way. So this has been fantastic to watch. And Cronulla back in third place. So no real update at the moment. Still saying they're around about 30 seconds behind. So you'd think at the moment that it's a race in two. But we're starting to get a few updates come through now. So Northern Beaches, Cronulla, also travelling well. So Northern Beaches is a great day for them. So there's our latest graphic. So Pacifica and Red Bull. That green graphic that you're seeing, that I think that's a boat still going towards the Harbour Bridge. Would that be correct?
That looks like it. It looks like a senior masterman crew. It's a Kaika senior masterman. So that's still a race among the race with the top two boats. That's probably going to be that way to the finish, I think. If they've been going that long together, toe-to-toe, it's going to be an interesting finish.
So, Johnny, what's on the agenda for 2018 for you once we get through today's event?
Well, this year I've decided not to do any coaching and just do clinics. So I'm traveling around different parts of the country and the world and doing more, I'm calling it teaching than coaching. And for the last 6 years, I spent a lot of time. I spent 4 years with the Dana Point women, and then the most 2 years, recent women, with the Outrigger women. So it was fun to see them go head-to-head because I worked with both of them.
You said a moment ago you'd show video of some of the best paddlers in the world.
Yeah.
Can you tell us who they are?
No, I can't. I can't tell you that.
Because people have been reluctant to name names.
No, you know, I mean, when you look at what Tahiti's doing and what Red Bull's following now, and the Outrigger women are looking at that, and it's the same with the Dana women, you're seeing results with it. But if you just go to watch most of the Tahitians paddle, just about all of them have good technique. So if you take the top teams, you know, EDT or OPT or Shell, and you really study what they're doing closely, you can see what the best in the world are doing.
So, on their way home, Red Bull and Pacifica. It's been a fantastic race. Pacifica tried to go inside. They've jumped in behind. They've tried to go outside. They tried to go inside again when they went around the turning marker near Luna Park. And thanks again to Destination New South Wales, AOCRA. Thanks also to Ocean Paddler Television and the streaming guys, the Open Men. And another graphic for you. So nothing between these teams. Can you just tell us, Nona, about the speeds that you're seeing there now that they're heading back into the chop?
Well, it's definitely come down a little bit. They were up there in the 15s, and they're dropping back now to 11 and 10. So that's just the headwind that they're going into. So there'll be a bit more bouncing going on. It won't be as smooth. But they're still getting a little bit of, getting a little bit of backwash, and so they're trying to use that as well. So you've got these guys that are just coming back. They'll be getting a bit of backwash there. They're actually not quite in that headwind just there. So it's still really, really close between Pacifica and Team Red Bull. That's tight.
How hard was it coming back today? Just over 2 hours for your crew?
Yeah, it was hard. It took a lot of, you've got to apply all that energy, but it's got to be, it comes back to your technique and timing.
So the winning women's crew from Hawaii, they turned in around about 52 minutes, and then coming back was about 1 hour 10. So it showed just how difficult the conditions.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
The conditions were definitely different from each way. But in saying that, at the turn, Hawaii wasn't in front. So they've come from behind to come back and actually win it. So a couple things changed after the turn. A couple people made ground.
And tactically, they were outstanding. And when they made their move, it was decisive. What were your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I worked with these girls for the last 2 years, and we raced in Tahiti in November, and they were pretty far back in the first half of that race, which was about a 2-hour race. And the second half of the race, they turned on phenomenally. And it was kind of like when they settle in and get comfortable, they get the groove. And it's a young team, so they're a little excited on the start. So I feel like they're a little off, and then about an hour in, they kind of settle in. And I kind of, when I saw them close at the end, I thought, I think they can pull it off.
They were buzzing afterwards with Amy Woodward.
Oh, they were so stoked, yeah.
So she's 31, and with all these young women, and they were just outstanding today. So good to watch. Now, what can you tell us, you being the expert, travelling all over the world and working on stroke technique and teaching and holding clinics? What are your observations?
What you're going to see in the top teams is usually a little more patience in the water. And it looks like they're moving their bodies slower, but the boat's actually going faster. And then the teams farther back, what I usually see is they're trying to pull a little too quick or too short in the water, and the efficiency isn't there, or maybe timing. I mean, the top guys you see, like you have both Australia and the Red Bull guys, the timing is pretty flawless, and that's a big deal on a team boat.
So, Nona, is it an obstacle illusion, or has Pacifica taken the lead here?
I reckon that's camera angle.
Camera angle.
Yeah.
And these guys look really good. I mean, their timing is very nice.
I'd say they're side by side, really. It's just the angle.
So, again, they've taken an inside run, trying to see if the cameras pan around. Well, it's just incredible the amount of traffic that's been on the harbour. That's also a factor.
Well, it's to be expected.
Yeah.
And it can be a safety issue. So you really do, it's not just paddling. You got to pay attention to what's going on around you.
So they pretty much look flawless, don't they, to the naked eye?
It is. It's very nice, yeah. And right now they get a little, there's a lot of wash going on, a little bit of boat wake from all these different directions. So you're going into the wind, but there's always something to use, always something you can grab onto to get a little help from.
Johnny, what can you tell us? So seat one, setting the rhythm and tempo. We've spoken about that all day. So he's a guy that's ratings.
Yeah, your seat one needs to be really calm, cool and collected in the head. I feel like they have to have a great feel for the water, never pull the boat faster than it will go, or try to pull it faster than it'll go. You look for a guy with a lot of reach and a nice relaxed recovery, and you see in the seat one here, he sets his blade way out in front nicely, and he's really relaxed, so that's easy to follow.
So seat two, tell us their role, and seats 3 and 4, that's kind of the engine room, the powerhouse of the boat?
Yeah, seat 3 and 4 is your engine room, but 2 is, to me, one of your most important seats in the boat, because if 2's off just a little bit, half the boat's off.
So we've seen shots. I think you're exactly right, Nona. That was an optical illusion, because they do look like they're eyeballing each other yet again. So well done, Nona. But we've seen Noosa throughout this race. So that's boat 521, and they call themselves the Bad Boys. They're a senior Masters men's team. Morris Farrell, Chris Horan, Bob Hobart, Peter Hoffenberg, Greg Williams, and Rainer Hoff. So that's the Noosa team, boat 521, that we've seen quite often. And now, have a look at this.
Yes, it's on.
Side by side, it is on. So Pacifica and Red Bull, it doesn't get much better than this. So the superstars have come down under to defend their crown, and the top two teams from last year going at it again. So Pacifica and Red Bull. Johnny, can you sum this up?
I can't. I mean, at this point, you have quite a ways to go. So what you don't see here is too much excitement because they're head-to-head, right? Everybody's still calm. Everybody's kind of collected in there. They know that, if one boat goes, we can go with them. So you don't see this kind of craziness going on. Everybody still knows there's some time to go. So they're just kind of pacing each other at this point. It's not crazy, When it gets a little closer to the end, then I think you're going to see some things turn up.
So there could be a little surge at some point, like the Hawaiians made a decisive move?
Yeah, I think you're going to see, when they see the finish line within, 30 minutes or 20 minutes, I think both of these teams are going to really turn it on because they know this is go time, it's come down to the end, yeah. So and the last thing you want is a race like this at the very end of the race. You want to be there a little farther ahead where you're comfortable, but who knows?
Let me ask both of you guys, where would you make the move? Where do you just put on an absolute sprint to try to break them, if you can?
Last 15. You can do it sooner, but if you're toe-to-toe the whole time.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful, right? So when you turn on, if you don't have the fuel to the end and you
Yeah.
go a little early, and it could backfire on you.
So they're almost in a holding pattern, waiting, almost like a track and field event where they're going to get near the final straight or into the final lap, and then it's game on.
I do think that's what you're seeing right now. Both teams have pretty good speed, and they're about the same speed, so they're kind of waiting to when are we going to do this, or what's the other guy going to do? Yeah.
It's almost like they're pacing each other.
So the Sydney Harbour Challenge 2018. We're about to go to Kalai. We saw him on his boat just a moment ago, and what a tremendous job. I hope you're enjoying it wherever you may be watching around the world. So it's our third and final race of the day. We had the Northern Beaches win the first race, the Open Mixed. Masters Mixed, Outrigger Australia. Senior Masters Mixed to Surfers Paradise Gold. And the Golden Masters went to Burleigh. Right now, let's go live to the water. Kalai is there.
All right, we've just had our turn at Bradley Point. Hopefully you've been seeing the same thing we're seeing out of our camera. And now, again, these two crews are neck and neck. For a while there, just past the Sydney Harbour Bridge, we had Team Pacifica leading Red Bull for quite a bit. They had a little bit of a come together around the turn there, and they've been sticking with it right now. This is the part of the race that we saw with the women's race where the team that had a little bit more left in the tank at this portion of the race, we're probably about a third of it left. The team with a little more left in the tank is going to be the one that's going to pull away. This is the uphill leg of this race. These teams are paddling straight into the wind. It's not as choppy and all over the place as it was just earlier, but they're definitely getting headed at this point. This is uphill paddling. This is not that fun, but you're going to see the difference between the paddlers that really have not only the conditioning, but the power and the patience to apply and realize that this is not a short sprint to the next point. This is another few miles or several kilometers going into that finish line. So they're still neck and neck. Both teams look very fresh. I would say that the Red Bull team with the white jerseys, they're a bit bigger per man, maybe a bit more powerful, but I tell you what, that Pacifica team has definitely turned them on their heads today and putting on a heck of a show, making all the Aussies out there very proud. This Pacifica team is kicking some butt right now, paddling neck and neck with the world champions. So this race is far from over. There's a lot of work yet to be done. And again, behind us in third place, third, fourth, and fifth, I think we're running Cronulla, as they say it here, Mooloolaba, and Northern Beaches. So that's rounding out our top five. But really, the race is going on right here. These two canoes neck and neck. And let's see if either of them will be able to make a run on the other, be able to create some separation, or whether it'll be a tit for tat type of deal where as soon as one team starts to try to put a run on it, the other team will respond and go back and forth. But you're going to see beautiful paddling from both of these crews, very similar strokes. I would say, if anything, the Red Bull team has a little bit longer stroke, but both of these crews not getting too excited. They've both been here before. These are full of very experienced paddlers, and they're out there doing the grind. They're putting in a nice catch up front and ripping it through, having a nice long draw through the water. That's what you want, paddling into the wind. And both of them are exemplifying that perfectly right now. So great stuff. We're going to stay with it. Our other boat and our drone are going to be combining to bring you footage from the rest of the race. And of course, fantastic stuff going over there in the studio. I know you're lucky to be dry on this one. Earlier you were lucky out of the sun. This time you were lucky to be dry. And I'll tell you, one of these days, they're going to pull me off this boat and let me work in the studio like a proper broadcaster. I'm out here doing all the field work for you, and I hope you appreciate it. But anyway, we're going to stick with this. This is fun stuff right here. This is what spectator paddling is all about, and we're glad to be able to bring it to you live from Ocean Paddler TV. And of course, the 2018 Sydney Harbour Challenge. This race is far from over. The grind starts now.
Yeah, great job, Kalai. Absolutely love it. The grind starts now, so not far to go. We're trying to actually get the elapsed time for you, but, I mean, this is a promoter's dream, what we're seeing at the moment.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, anytime you get a close race like this, it's so exciting for spectators, right?
That's Mooloolaba Senior Masters right there. That's nice.
And back to our leaders. Side by side, stroke for stroke. Would there be a lot of communication going on at the moment, Johnny, in those boats?
There's probably nothing being said at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
a lot of focus. Yeah.
When Dean Gardner was here earlier and he said that, he was in a star-studded OC6 boat that included Olympians. Grant Kenny was in the boat. Martin Kenny was in the boat. He said the less said, the better.
Yeah, you just do your job at that point.
Yeah. What about for you, Nona?
No, same. You've got your person calling changes, and if there's anything else that needs to be addressed, it comes back from the steering, we pass it forward. But yeah, it's pretty much a quiet boat.
So probably the vocals go up maybe in the last, couple of minutes when you just need to put the power down.
When they're ready for a good push, you're going to have somebody, the captain in the boat, whoever it is probably going to say, there'll be a few words or something going on, and all the team will react to it. And at that point, you're going so hard, there's not much being said at all.
Nice bailing.
So just looking at that boat, it's 335.
Yep, that's Mooloolaba Senior Master Man.
Yeah, your club.
Yep.
Tony Harding, Ron Grab, Trevor Wendt, Adam Stafford, Michael Smith. Oh, and the great man who was in commentary with us was a real hero. Was in Alexander's Headland Surf Club and then went to Mooloolaba, Danny Sheard.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And a phenomenal athlete.
He's a behemoth.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really is.
And, just an absolute legend of life-saving back in the 80s and still is. An absolute hero. So well done to those guys.
Can't quite tell though where they are as far as the tracking, so we'll try and figure out where they are in the pack.
So, Danny, a little bit like you, Nona, as well. He's done Molokai over 20 times.
Well, most of those gentlemen in that boat just came back off of the Senior Master win.
Yeah, so
they won that at the last Molokai.
Johnny, are we seeing something, maybe just a little move right now? We just saw our two leaders again. Are we seeing Red Bull just put something on?
It looked like they're putting a small push on. Nothing crazy. It doesn't look like they're getting excited, but it does look like they're looking at up in the boat speed a little bit.
So it's just been so spectacular to watch. And here we go. There is a move on. Or let's go to Nona because she's the expert here. Are we seeing an optical illusion yet again?
No, I think they've pulled ahead by a couple seats there.
Okay. So
Red Bull, that is.
Red Bull and Pacifica. So Johnny alongside us. And a lot of these men as well. You said you've had a lot to do with the women. What about the men in the Red Bull team?
I've been watching them for the last 7 years, learning what they're doing. They brought in the Tahitians to help them with their stroke, the way they train, or like the Tahitians, because Tahitians are the best in the world right now, And what I like about what these guys are doing is they bought in a long time ago when nobody else really did, and it's showing now, right? They're at the top of the game. At this point, when you see them make the move, it's not a lot more power. Like now you just see more energy, right? The stroke rate came up a little bit less. The stroke's just as long in the water, but they're quicker to the front, so they're grabbing that water a little sooner to get that boat speed up.
They just look amazing. Look at that.
They've done a little bit of a move there.
What about length of stroke? How far do you take it before it's dead water at the back?
Usually a good rule in most craft is elbow to torso.
Yeah.
Because that's where your leverage point sort of ends and you start pushing back and you don't have much power at that point.
So ski paddling, you're normally out by your hips. So here there's dead water as well?
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about this crew. So if you know this crew inside out, Team Red Bull, and Nona said she's known them since they were little boys, and she's super proud of what they've done, some of these boys.
Well, it's true. I mean, they've made an amazing move in the last few years, and I've been just kind of watching from the outside. I know the guys individually a little bit, but I've been watching and what they're doing, like how they're thinking, how they put their effort in, the amount of hours they put in on training, and their focus on technique and working as a team, has been really exceptional.
So there's our graphic, Pacifica, Matt Nottage, Sean Simonek, Carl Perry, Dean Blake, Paul Chong, and Mike Mills-Tom. Now, I think you guys have said it, he's revered, Mike Mills-Tom.
He's pretty good. He's won a lot of different races, and he just knows how to push them.
So where are they at in terms of effort level at the moment? It looks like they're heading for home. Looks like the power's on. Looks like a move is on right at the moment that could be decisive.
Yeah, well, Red Bull made the move, right? So now it's kind of up to the other guys to say, okay, can we counter this? Do we have the energy? Do we have the boat speed to really make this push now and stay with them? And I have a feeling that, Red Bull may have a little more in the tank as well. So if they counter it, both boats will go a little bit faster. And then within, I think, 20 minutes from the finish, you'll see a sprint happen.
So this is the Sydney Harbour Challenge, and we've got exactly what we're after, an absolute match race between two of the finest crews going around. So it's Red Bull, who travel all over the world for big races, and they're closely followed by Pacifica. So this was 1 and 2 last year.
And there's another race among a race.
Yeah, absolutely. So a race within a race. So we've seen a Cronulla Masters men's team that were tracking in the top 6. We'll have a graphic for you in just a moment. We're hoping to bring that to you. But at the moment, it's all about the front two. What are your thoughts about the conditions? So that's obviously, it looks like wash coming off one of the vessels on the harbour.
Yeah, it is. And then you have, it's coming to the AMA side of them, so it gets a little tippy. So when things like that happen, especially towards the end of the race, everybody's sort of excited, a little bit intense. You have to be really aware of what's happening and that you don't flip over. So someone in the boat will say, hey, we got weight coming, or watch the AMA, and when you're in the heat of it, it's sometimes easy to forget that, and you can get in trouble if you're not careful.
So, no, that's we just saw shots of Mooloolaba crew
Yep.
on the inside there.
That's a senior master men, so that they're all over 50. So they'll definitely be trying to go in their category.
So,
I just don't know where they are at the moment in comparison to everybody else.
Yeah, we're waiting on that. We'll see that in just a moment. This is going to be a thrilling finish, Johnny. I mean, they put a little move on, but they haven't been able to break. Red Bull haven't been able to break Pacifica.
No, they haven't. And I don't. I wonder if they will. We'll see. Once you get they're hanging in there, right? So they stepped up. They stepped it up a notch. They're only a boat behind, and that's plenty of distance to catch up at the end if they need to.
So mentally, weren't able to break them, and now it looks like they're going to have another crack on the inside off the headland.
If they come up again right next to them, that's going to be pretty awesome, because that gets you feeling better when you catch up like that.
So the Sydney Harbour Challenge, Steve Allen, Nona Cuff is with me, who's done the Molokai on 20 occasions, and also we're privileged to have Johnny Puakaya with us, one of the best coaches in the world, runs clinics. You guys are far too humble. You're laughing.
No, I don't know if I'd say that, the best, but yeah, we're helping out for sure.
Well, that's what my people are telling me. And running clinics all over the place. I mean, what a lifestyle that this sport has given you.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. Yeah, I mean, I get to do something I love, so you wake up in the morning, you got to remind yourself, oh, this is a pretty good gig,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that was a great clinic yesterday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I was lucky enough to attend the clinic, and I haven't been able to get to one of them since I've moved away. So it was really nice and really refreshing to hear that information again.
And Johnny, how is the sport evolving? Like, are you seeing great numbers at grassroots level?
We're seeing growth all around. And it's, to me, the unlimited canoes, the canoes that are a little bit lighter now are helping the sport grow, I believe, because they're a lot of fun to get in. They're easier to carry. And we're seeing growth everywhere. And to me, it's a fun time to be involved in the sport. So
we're watching Red Bull and Pacifica go out at 1 and 2. So we can give you an update here. And you will love this. Well, Cronulla, it's saying 28 seconds behind. Mooloolaba still that 1 minute behind. So they haven't really dropped back any further. And 1 hour and 15 minutes into the race. And
they're coming home, so
now it looks like Pacifica again, they were inside, now they've gone outside again. So everything they've tried, they hit the front momentarily, but Red Bull have just held them at bay for the majority of the race. And you can see the heads there, Sydney heads. So they'll come around this next headland, which is on the left of screen. And then it's full steam ahead toward the finish. Is that right, Nona?
Yeah, you're less than half an hour out. So they just might break that mark. So last year's time, Red Bull, but that was a shortened course. So I don't have the time from the previous year.
So Mooloolaba, Ikeika, Cronulla, their senior men's team. Mooloolaba, their senior men. So they're 2 minutes and 33 minutes behind. So a fabulous paddle by them.
That's outstanding.
Then you've got Port Hacking, Singapore. We've seen shots of Bondi. So Bondi are in the top 10. They're 3 minutes 40 behind that Bondi team, followed by Outrigger Australia. Bayside are currently in 12th place. The Fraser Coast, 13th. Sydney in 14th. Noosa in 15th. Bay Outriggers 16th. Tweed are currently 17th. Ikeika, so that's their senior men's team in 18th. The American Dragons 19th. Rounding out the top 20 is Koakai, so that's a Masters men's team. So that's our top 20 as we see Gee, have a look at the bump on the harbour at the moment. Talk us through this, Johnny. So up and down.
Well, yeah, you have a lot of, it looks like a lot of boat wake and a little bit of wind. So these guys are up and down the whole time, but they make sure they get to the water and get that blade in to get a good plant, right? And you could see the energy on Red Bull now. To me, it's come up a bit because they feel like, okay, we got a little bit of a lead here. Let's try to, some people call it snap that rubber band, and kind of break loose from the guys behind them.
And we can see the Manly Ferry cutting its way to Circular Quay as Red Bull in 6:42. 1 hour, 16 minutes into the race. And it's been an absolutely terrific race. Very similar in a way to the women. It was a fight between Hawaii and also California. But in the end, the Hawaiians, by a couple of minutes, and congratulations to them. It's been great to have them as part of the Sydney Harbour Challenge in 2018. Brought to you by Destination New South Wales, AOCRA, Ocean Paddler Television, and the streaming guys as well. You just saw the drone footage. It's revolutionised the sport, hasn't it? And not just outrigger canoe paddling, but so many water sports.
Well, absolutely, and everything. I mean, I remember back, in Molokai to Oahu that we had, you would always need a helicopter to get those shots. Alex was the guy in it all the time, and they would come by and there'd be a bunch of noise, and you're trying to listen to your crew, and it's making a bunch of disturbance. Now you have the drone that gets out there, and they just go anywhere they want and get beautiful shots.
So back into this chop, and naturally, Johnny, the speed has dropped just slightly. So they're averaging at the moment around 11 or 12 kilometres an hour. Earlier in the race, they were up around that 15, 16 when they were heading downwind. So,
yeah, and you have two things going on, right? You're getting towards the end of the race, and a lot of times boats will slow down a little bit because of fatigue. But you maybe had current and wind met your back at the point. So there's a lot of things that come into play.
So this is Red Bull. Nearest to camera, in the background, Pacifica in the pink rash vests. And Nona is the expert here on optical illusions. So what do you think the gap is, Nona?
It's about a canoe length and a half, I think. Yeah, they're getting stronger right now. They're starting to pull ahead.
I'm afraid to call anything because
I think
Nona's got it worked out. So here we come. So once they round this, better than anyone, Nona. You did the race just before. So once they turn this headland, they'll get a view of Manly, and then it's game on.
Yeah, they've still got one more bay that they've got to cross, and they've still got to deal with a bit more boat traffic and that tide.
Johnny, I need to ask you. You spoke about the science of paddling. What can you tell us?
I think
it's like watching a golf swing. Like
it really is. I can get into a clinic and I can just pick apart something forever.
Yeah.
But the really important thing is there's just a few main mechanics, and if you keep that in mind, you're good. If you get a little bit too caught up in it, you drive yourself crazy.
So that is it's the Cronulla boat. So another great paddle from Cronulla. In fact, at the moment, our top three from last year, even though it was a shortened event, are currently the top three in 2018. So Team Red Bull, Pacifica and Cronulla setting the pace. So when we spoke to Dean Gardner earlier, he spoke about, he knows these waters better than almost anyone, and he said sometimes he would go close to a headland and maybe pick up some runners or some ocean swells off the headland.
Yeah, absolutely. You get what they call backwash, where the swell will hit the rocks and it comes off. And sometimes if the wind's in your face, that bump is going to get behind you. And most of these guys, they can't see it, but the really good paddlers, they feel it. And they feel that boat pick up a little bit, and they'll give a little push and get something out of it.
You mentioned as well about the Tahitians being the best in the world. Tell us more.
Well, it's lifestyle. And to me, they've really gotten the efficiency down as far as paddling goes. They paddle so well together. And it's like what you see here at the Red Bull. When they come up on the intensity, it doesn't really look like they're doing much more, but you see a big change in boat speed because everything's done perfectly together with pressure synced as a unit. And they're using all the right muscle groups so that they can continue to do it all day and not get too tired.
So, Nona, I can see you getting excited. So that is Cronulla and Mooloolaba.
Yes.
Side by side. What a good race this is for third and fourth. So, Team Red Bull, followed by Pacifica. Great shots here. Johnny, is there any chance, do you think Pacifica could bridge the gap, or are they in control now, Red Bull?
Yeah, that's a tough one to call because I hate to be saying that, no way it can happen because it always can. But when I look at how well Red Bull is paddling and the energy they're putting into every stroke together and the boat speed, I don't think so. But, you never know.
So it's only a matter of seconds, but they probably have broke that umbilical cord that we were talking about just a few moments ago.
Probably, in a sense, I mean, what Red Bull has right now is they have the confidence, right? They're going to put the hammer down. It doesn't hurt as much when you're leading a race. And when you're a little bit behind or in that second place, it's a little harder mentally. So you really have to be together and strong to come back.
I can tell you both boats have up the tempo. So between 12 and 13 kilometres we're seeing on our GPS at the moment. Back to Cronulla, Mooloolaba, Ikaika. Cronulla's got 2 teams. So Cronulla are 5th and 6th at the moment, and one of those is their senior men's team. So great job by Team Cronulla. Mooloolaba in 7th. So that's their senior men as well. So
yes.
Great job.
That's great.
So the race within the race is Cronulla and Mooloolaba in the senior men's. So they're fighting it out for first place on the podium as well, and there's still plenty of twists and turns in that event.
Well, the beautiful thing about the racing is, there's always a race going on within a race. And you can be racing for 1st or 5th or 50th, and you're going to feel the same way at the end if you beat that boat next to you. It's just as exciting.
So the Ikaika team, what can you tell us about them?
Well,
not a whole lot at this stage.
No. But I believe they're a team out of Sydney. They're from over here.
So we have Brad Gall. I think that's the boat that Brad Gall is in. The 2-time Molokai paddleboard winner. So he was a paddleboard world champion. And
they've got some pretty fit guys in that boat. So
yeah, he's also crossed Bass Strait. I think they've got as well. I think they've got in their boat this afternoon. They've got the stand-up paddleboard world champion as well. So very accomplished crew. So looking at Cronulla here, closely followed by Mooloolaba. And the race is on for home with Red Bull out in front, followed by Pacifica in the open men's. The Sydney Harbour Challenge, brought to you by Destination New South Wales. You guys are looking great on our screen here in the studio. Throw a sharker out, and it's time to go live to our support boat right now.
Welcome back to our live coverage from Boat 1. We are with Team Red Bull. They are running just in first place by about 3 boat lengths. Coming around Bradley's Head right there, and we just passed Middlehead, and of course the roughest part of the race because the harbor is open here to the Pacific Ocean through this corridor, which has been the word of the day, corridor. Red Bull kind of put a little move on. There was a little bit of surf to find, and this experienced steersman from Tahiti was able to find what he needed. You could see at times the Red Bull team was picking up their stroke to be able to take advantage of that, and they kind of surfed away a little bit from Team Pacifica of Australia. They're still kind of settled into their stroke. You can see they're certainly not in a panicked state at all right now. They're kind of still calm, varying their stroke rate as they need, but still a long, strong pull through the water. That was pretty much the roughest section of the race. As we get close to the finish line at Manly, which is probably another 20 to 30 minutes away, the water will continually get calmer because it's being blocked by the little peninsula of Manly here. And so this is only going to get better for this crew right here. Behind them, Pacifica has been strong. They've been steady. The paddlers are looking really solid, and their steersman, Mike Mills-Tom, is doing quite a job. They are certainly not dropping back by much, if any, and still are far from out of this race. They can put a run on this team at any time, but we would also look at Team Red Bull to respond to that. Our 3rd, 4th, 5th place boats are now at quite a gap back. I would give them probably about a half a kilometer or more back from our leaders here. But again, Pacifica and Red Bull are staying pretty neck right here. We're going to ask Adam to kind of slow it down, let these guys pass, and you get a nice shot of the stroke style of our defending champions, Team Red Bull.
So Kalele again doing an outstanding job on our support boat and riding live now with Team Red Bull. So just trying to find out the elapsed time in the event. Fastest time of the day so far, 1 hour 46:28 for the open mixed team from Northern Beaches. It was a great start to the day, perfect conditions. So Team Red Bull back live in the studio. Just tell us about the coaching career. So you said you started coaching back in the 80s and you were...
Yeah, I was in K1, K1 surf ski, and I started coaching in about 1989. That was not too long ago, right? And
Just yesterday.
been doing it ever since. You know, I take a year off, or I take 2 years off once in a while, and then I'm back at it, and it's been fun.
So were you on target for the Seoul Olympic Games in South Korea?
That was the goal, yeah. And I got injured, and I was out for about 2.5 years. And when I came back in, it was, you know, a guy came up to me and says, you know, if you're not going to do it as an athlete, let's get you in as a coach. And
Yeah.
that was it ever since.
And you were saying, for our viewers that may have just joined us on the international feed, you're from a family of boat builders.
I am, yeah. Canoe builders, Koa Canoe Builders, yeah, I am.
And based in Hawaii?
Yeah, on Oahu, yeah.
Yeah, so to see these boys that you've had so much to do with, and look, like you said, they just look, it's not like their rating's gone up, but you can see just how much power is going down.
The
with every
energy
stroke.
comes up, yeah.
What's the number?
So our GPS is saying, I'm just trying to pick that crew. I think it's the crew that's got Brad Gall in it and James Casey, the SUP world champion. You may have seen him surfing on his SUP at Sunset Beach.
Yeah, those guys are crazy, for sure.
He's also into foiling, which is something brand new. But Brad Gall, of course, from Sydney's Northern Beaches, 2-time Molokai winner. And, you know, they do this sport just for great fun with their mates.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of crossover from stand-up into outrigger right now. You know, you're going a little faster in the boats, and it's great cross-training, I think, as well.
So Team Red Bull, just on that science of the paddling again, is it as vertical as possible when they drop the stroke?
You know, it is. I mean, it's all about the angle of the paddle going in the water and how much water you're actually able to grab and hold on to.
Yeah.
And you see these guys, you know, they always have a little bit of a forward angle when they grab it. What you watch in these guys that's really good is they're very, very patient in the water, and it looks like they're not doing much.
Yeah.
But they are probably breathing so hard and working so hard at the time.
What would their pulse rate be? Could you give us that? Like, where are they at? They 180 beats per minute?
Probably not yet. And if they are, they're going to be feeling it a little bit at the end of the race. They're trying to keep it down in the 160 range until and it's all by feel at that point, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, you'll bet they're maxing out the heart rate towards the end for sure.
Well, what you said is basically what we see with every elite athlete, that they make it look easy.
Absolutely. When it's done right, it looks easy, but
Nice.
it never is.
So that's some of the backwash that we were talking about?
Yeah, loving that. So that's your boys, Nona.
Yes.
So Mooloolaba, look how close they are to the headland, and hoping for a bit of backwash off that headland and maybe pick up a swell.
Well, Danny loves that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
So trying to surf those swells, and this is going to be a fantastic finish. I guess sometimes you'd see that they've all got to stop paddling depending on what transpires.
Yeah, if you get a little bit of weight come to the Ama side and it lifts up, you know, some of the guys will stop and kind of catch it so they don't flip over.
Yeah.
Different little things here and there. I mean, you're definitely taking in water now and then. And you got to bail it out. There's a lot going on.
So third and fourth across the line is going to be absolutely fantastic to watch. So that is Cronulla, still in third place. Team Red Bull, Pacifica. We're seeing Mooloolaba, Cronulla, all in with a chance. Mooloolaba, Cronulla, Ikeka, all with a chance of finishing in third place in this race. So it looks like the top two are pretty much settled, and that's what's ahead of them. Team Red Bull, just a well-oiled machine, no doubt about it.
It really is, and that's what you kind of see when these top teams are working together. You know, it's calm, it's collected, it's confident, and it's a machine. It really is. It's a sport, but these guys look at it as an art.
Now, I asked Nona this earlier, but I'd like to hear what your response is. What makes a great paddler?
Time in the water, feel.
If you see these guys out here outside our marquee here, tell me, what are you looking for? Can you turn anyone into a paddler?
Yeah, you can. It's a great sport, right? Anybody can get in and you can always get to the best of your ability. But the better guys, you know, you have natural ability, you have great feel, you have sometimes natural technique, or you've learned it really well. You have training ethic, you have mindset that's go for it. I mean, there's a lot of things involved to be at that elite level.
Yeah, we've seen. What about psychologists? We've seen some of the Winter Olympians. They've actually got their sports psychologist. One of them was a friend of mine, Matt Graham, who won silver in the moguls in Pyeongchang. He had his sports psychologist at the top of the mountain before he did his run and finished second to Mikhail Kingsbury.
It's a huge deal, right? I mean, your brain is half the battle out there, and I know a lot of times when I'm working with teams, I'm working more on the mind than I am the body at times.
So, Johnny, we spoke earlier in the day about hydration They've all got camelbacks on, or
Yep.
virtually all the paddlers. How much would they take on in a race like this?
Hard to say. I'm not sure what these guys are carrying. 1-2 liters. Kind of the rule of thumb is 8 ounces every 15 minutes, roughly. That's what people say. Different people need different. The most important thing, I think, is to start drinking early and getting what you need early and not drink it all early.
What about you, Nona? How much did you go through? Because the last thing you want is to be dehydrated.
Oh, absolutely not. But you start hydrating a couple days out. So
Yeah.
if you start hydrating on the day, you've waited too long. You're going to get thirsty. And the minute you get thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So I carry a water pack, and I'll probably have a sip about every 20 minutes.
I'll tell you what we are seeing. Ikeika is on the move. So there's a real chance here they could finish in third. So they're coming home with a wet sail. That's Cronulla alongside them on the inside in the blue boat.
And then Ikaika on the outside.
So Ikeika, the team that we had them in here earlier, I think they've got a couple of teams in this afternoon, and the main team had our co-commentator Brad Gall on board, and also the James Casey, the SUP world champion. I said earlier he could be the male model. He was looking fantastic on the set in here. And once again, we got a couple of skiffs racing past. We had some yachts under full spinnaker earlier, but it's not affecting these Red Bull boys. So the team from Hawaii surging toward the finish. Waiting to see where... So we just saw an adjustment there with... So they've got to give way to that yachters. That's correct. So we just saw a slight adjustment from them.
Yeah, because they're under sail and they can't move as quickly.
So what was happening there, Johnny?
Well, at that point, those guys they're pretty aware. They're on autopilot, right? They
Yeah.
see something coming from the side, the steersman, they know he's got his job done. They're not going to second guess him.
Yeah.
A couple of guys might think, okay, I'm going to catch the Yama, or I'm going to help him steer a little bit, get the boat to the side, or a little bit of communication. That's about it.
So here we go. Like we just saw a shot, and they're magnificent pictures. Well done to our team. But everyone from our marquee is heading toward the finish. I mean, this has been absolutely brilliant to watch. So Team Red Bull not far from home. And if you can, make some noise for this team, because they are a class act. So they were challenged at numerous times through this event. Pacifica tried to get them on the inside, tried to get them on the outside, sat in behind them. And they've just answered every challenge that's come their way. They virtually led from the start. And they're not far from finishing now. Team Red Bull from the Hawaiian Islands. You must be incredibly proud, Johnny, watching these boys.
Yeah, I am, and it's been fun to watch these guys for the last few years and see where they've come to. At this point, it's nice because they're in a comfortable position, right? They can relax. They don't have to sprint. They know, we kind of got this thing, right? They'll probably, within a few minutes before the finish line, do a sprint and show everybody what they got, and kind of do the...
Just to finish it off.
Yeah.
I've got to say, guys, you'd agree the event's supported by Destination New South Wales, but here at Manly, it's just the perfect amphitheatre.
It really is. It's a great spot for an event. You got the town right here. You have a really nice beach.
That's a great shot right there. You can see the rocking going on. See, their bodies are all doing the same thing.
So we see a lot of sports where even in training these days, they're filming every moment. Are you doing the same thing, Johnny?
I do enough. I try not to do it too much because some people get a little bit discouraged if they're not getting better quick.
Yeah.
But you do enough of it to know that you need the improvement. But we're using a lot of things like GPS, heart rate monitors, and those things every day for sure.
So
yeah, same thing.
We'll get set to go to our support boat to call this one home. So we're almost home. Red Bull, they've been just terrific. Thoroughly deserved their win. Pacifica in second place. It's a real battle for third. I'm looking forward to seeing how that unfolds. So just on standby at the moment. Thanks again to everyone for watching the live stream. Hope you've enjoyed it right throughout the day. And we're just about to go to Kalai to call it home in the Open Men's event.
We're here with our leaders coming into the finish of the men's race. And as you can tell, we're going to have to do a couple little evasive maneuvers to keep them in our shot. That's Team Red Bull from Hawaii coming in first place here at the 2018 Sydney Harbour Challenge. Just a few boat lengths directly behind them, we have Team Pacifica from right here in Australia. And you can see these guys coming into the finish line here. Sorry, there's a lot of boats moored in this area here in Manly Cove, and you can tell it's a bit challenging for us in the film crew, but these boys from Red Bull are turning it up right now. They're going to go hard into the beach. We're going to do our best to keep you with them as they go into the finish line here. But you can see they really are into finishing strong. They look great all race long. Seemed they had a little bit extra left in them as they came into that final quarter of the beach and doing the signature flying of the ama as they come into the finish line here. Little bit of gamesmanship by our crew from Hawaii. They got Puni Freitas in the front. That is Kainoa Tanawai in 2, Trey Cox in 3, Kea Kuakawa Nolan in 4, Kikoa Kau in 5, and Hamaku, he's from Tahiti. He's a steersman. Fantastic job by all of them. And if we're going to follow around, we can see our local crew here, Team Pacifica, who put on a hell of a race today. Definitely the hometown favorites. And you can hear the beach just erupt as these strong young men, including Mike Mills Tom, maybe the strongest and the youngest minded of all of them, come across the finish line in a very beautiful performance. Second place here. And we'll leave these guys on the beach, and we're gonna head out to try and catch up with our 3rd, 4th, and 5th place boats. Come on, this end.
Hawaii on the water. So our first 2 boats home. Team Red Bull in 1 hour 35:56. Pacifica 1 hour 36:34. So 38 seconds between the boats in the end. But what a fantastic race!
Yeah, great race and fast times too. I mean, those guys are moving.
Beat that time from the mixed race this morning.
Yeah,
in tougher conditions. So yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a hard one to live up to if the mixed beat you. Huh?
by almost 11 minutes in the end. But they are just absolutely outstanding to watch. Just keeping an eye on 3rd because that's a real race between 2 or 3 crews, and we might go back and get a call of this. But that looks like Ikaika, who are now into 3rd, and they have really stormed home. And I'm seeing some clenched fists here because there's Northern Beaches paddlers in this crew. And, well, I saw you clenching the fist with Malula Bar earlier, but Ikaika, they are looking, well, actually, they're in 4th.
Yeah.
So there is Cronulla. So
that would be Cronulla's their other team.
And
They've got about 3 teams there.
Johnny, someone said earlier about the money shot. We just saw it.
That was amazing. It really was.
Yeah. Hope you're enjoying the pictures wherever you may be watching, not just here in Australia, but right around the world for the 5th annual Sydney Harbour Challenge. Been a pleasure doing it for you throughout the day. Alongside me, Nona Cuff, and one of the world's best coaches, Johnny Puakea. You're far too humble, Johnny. Just accept that you're one of the best. So
there's Malulaba.
Heading toward the finish now. So still waiting on our 3rd team
Whatever
home.
you need.
So, Johnny, you might have to leave us soon, but if you can, please stay because you've been amazing, and we can call this across the line. But you want to go celebrate with the boys?
Either way, I'm okay.
Johnny, the boys will come to us. The boys will be
the
here.
beer's over here, right?
They'll be here on the
yeah.
They'll be on the set in just a few moments' time. So
6:41.
So boat 641 is Cronulla, their open men's team. Stuart Myhill, Ben Bricknell, Steve Hinton, Daniel Bova, Josh Casemore, and Clint Roberts. So we've seen a couple of Cronulla crews, and we may have thought that in 3rd place was their blue boat that we saw, but so this is their team, 641, in a white boat. So the other team we're seeing is probably their senior men's team that are running in 6th place. So apologies if we've got that wrong for you throughout the call, but so Cronulla.
That's awesome.
Yep. The fact they've got 2 crews in the top 6, including a senior men's, and there is the official time. So Cronulla finish in 3rd place, 1:40.03. Boat 641. Cronulla into 3rd place. Team Red Bull in 1:35.56. Pacifica 1:36.34. And congratulations to the boys from the Shire. Cronulla in 3rd place in 1 hour 40 and 3 seconds. Again, though, it shows how good that mixed masters team was earlier today, even though it was perfect conditions in 1:46.28.
Yeah, that's really quick for mixed for sure.
So this is a Kaika that we're seeing on screen. And we pan forward, and I'm certain that's another Cronulla boat. So just trying to check who is actually in 4th, 5th and 6th. And Mooloolaba, they've got to be around the mix as well.
I think they've just crossed the line, actually.
So that is a Team Cronulla boat as well. So trying to check their number. And we'll get official confirmation on all of this. So Mooloolaba have crossed the line in 4th.
Excellent.
So what a great day for Mooloolaba from the Sunshine Coast. 1 hour 40 and 10. So 7 seconds behind Cronulla. That's how close it was to finish on the dice. So Mooloolaba, they had a win in the women's today, in the senior women's, which Nona was a part of. And congratulations for
nice
everything
job.
you've done with your club.
Oh, thank you.
4th, 5th and 6th for Mooloolaba today in the women's. And then 4th in the men's. And that's a team that's had great success, that
Yes.
senior men's team. 1 hour 40 and 10 seconds. 4 minutes 14 behind our winner, Red Bull. So the Sydney Harbour Challenge. What a pleasure it is bringing you these pictures.
Yeah, a lot's changed in the last 20 years.
And
Before it was all stills.
the weather has just been amazing. You know, you're here in the beginning of the day. Oh, there's going to be a little bit of wind. It might be this or that, a headwind, and it's been really nice. Yeah, very lucky.
So another crew over the line now. We'll be able to tell you exactly who that is. As soon as they cross the buoy, we've got real-time results. So just coming through now, and that is Northern Beaches in 1 hour 42 and 30. So 6 minutes 34. So Northern Beaches, open men. So all of these crews so far, open men's teams. And we're pretty certain that in the next couple of boats will be Cronulla, their senior men.
I think that's them crossing now.
There it is.
What I'm noticing with this team is all their crews paddle pretty well. So as a club, it looks like they're really focusing on the technique of the whole team itself, which is nice. Slow in the water, and they have nice timing, you know, either crew you look at. Yeah.
So that Cronulla Masters men's team, so they finish in first place in that category, and their time, 1 hour 42.55. So
is that a proper Masters team or is that senior Masters?
Masters men. So
it's
there
40 plus.
There are senior Masters men's teams still out there, and they won't be far away. So loving the pictures that we're seeing. Thanks again to Nona Cuff, who's done the Molokai over 20 times. And Johnny Puakea from Hawaii joining us in commentary as well. Hopefully soon we'll have the winning team joining us live in the studio. So we were getting excited there. We thought that was a Kaika who were powering home into a medal position. But so the top three, just recapping, Team Red Bull in 1 hour 35.56. Pacifica not far behind in 1 hour 36.34. Cronulla in third place. So a carbon copy of what we saw in 2017.
Yes. Nice.
So can't really see that number, but do you think they're a senior Masters team?
Yeah, I can't tell without actually seeing the number, but I think possibly, because if the Mooloolaba men were up against another senior master crew, then that would probably be them.
So, Johnny, if you do want to go celebrate, we'll give you a leave pass. And
Yeah, I might have to get the women's team that I usually work with. The Outrigger just came by and teased me on the way by for seeing me up here.
yeah, I think it's time for you to go celebrate, my friend.
All right, thank you.
We can't thank you enough.
I've enjoyed it. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny.
Pleasure to see you, and we'll catch you at the presentation, Johnny Puakaya. So, watching more boats come through, we'll give you the updates as they arrive home. So far we've had 6 boats finish. Cronulla are the winners of the Masters men in 1 hour 42.55, but there's still senior men's teams out there. Getting these results for you now in real time. Boat number 7 is home, and it is Ikaika. So that's a Masters men's team.
Oh, Ikaika's Masters as well. So
So-
then Cronulla's gotten the Masters in their second.
Yeah, so Ikaika Masters are number 2 in the Masters men, 1 hour 45:14. So they are boat number 7 home. So we're still waiting to see who wins the Senior Masters men. Team Cronulla on their way to the finish. So this will be their 3rd boat home.
That's a great showing to have 3 canoes from the same club in the top 10. Got to be happy with that.
So they've probably got about 100 metres remaining until they cross the line. So 7 boats home, Red Bull winners, Pacifica in 2nd, Cronulla in 3rd, Mooloolaba 4th, Northern Beaches 5th, Cronulla 6th, Ikaika in 7th, and this will be our 8th boat home, and it's Cronulla. It's another open men's team.
Well done to them.
So that is their 3rd boat home for Cronulla in 1 hour 46:37.
So we've got a few more starting to come in. Okay, there's your senior master man. Well, one of them, one of the crews.
Your club, so Mooloolaba, on their way home, so they may still waiting on a senior masters men team to cross the line. So fingers crossed there.
Yes. So the field's pretty spread out right now, so they're not coming in as quickly as they were.
So now we've got our 9th and 10th boats home, and we do have a senior masters men team home, and it's Cronulla, who finished 10th overall, their senior masters men.
And Mooloolaba's coming in right now.
1 hour 47:29, so 11 minutes 33 behind our winners. And congratulations. Nona, the senior masters men, how old?
Most of them are about 54 and above.
Okay,
And
so
there is a couple 60s in there.
average age mid-50s,
Yep.
and they're just 11 minutes behind a couple of superstar teams. So congratulations to them. Age is no barrier, as we know.
No, and that's a pretty well-tuned team, so they should be happy with that.
So another Masters team came home ahead of Cronulla's senior Masters. That was Ikaika, their Masters men. So they've had 2 Masters men's teams within 2 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
So great job by them as well. In fact, the data we're seeing is that Ikaika have had their second men's team come home before their first men's team.
Oh, I guess they're buying.
Absolutely. One thing that's shining through from this coverage is everyone's looking forward to the post-match celebrations.
Oh, I think so. Everyone's worked really hard, and they've, done the necessary preparation to come to this race. It's not a race you want to come into lightly. It is a hard race.
And as you said, Mooloolaba are home, so they're senior masters men. In 11th place overall and second behind Cronulla in 148.22.
So aside from Red Bull, we haven't had any other international teams come in yet, so they should be working their way here pretty quickly.
Yeah, you're spot on. So still waiting on Hong Kong teams. Still waiting on the American Dragons, which is a Singapore team. There's a French team, or French Singapore. A couple of other Singapore teams. So their boats 531 and 534. So waiting on them. Bay Outrigger. Port Hacking still to come. So just a marvellous event. We started early this morning. 8 a.m. was the mixed race, and here we are at 4:30 local time. And we've had we'll recap the top 10. So in the men's event, Team Red Bull from Hawaii What a great race it was. Toe-to-toe with Pacifica virtually the entire way. In the end, they're winners by 37 seconds. 1 hour 35, 56. Pacifica, 1 hour 36, 34. Third place, Cronulla, and they were 4 minutes back, 4 minutes and 7 seconds behind our winners in third place. Mooloolaba, Open Men, in 1 hour 40 in fourth place. Northern Beaches fifth in 1 hour 42. Cronulla's sixth. Now that's their Masters men's team, so they've had a win in that category. 1 hour 42.55. Kaika Masters men, 1 hour 45.14. So they have finished seventh.
So that's your second place Masters team now that's come across. So you're still actually waiting on the third Masters.
Yeah, so Kaika had a third Masters team. So 3 Masters teams in the top 10.
Okay. Wow.
So your top 3 in the Masters men is Cronulla, Kaika.
Nice.
So, yeah, absolutely fantastic. So you can see some storm clouds rolling in over the harbour. Bondi on their way back to the finish. We gone off the air?
Oh, you sound like you've gone.
So Bondi on their way back. The Sydney Harbour Challenge 2018. Steve Allen and Nona Cuff alongside me from Mooloolaba Outrigger Canoe Women's Club.
And that looks like Northern Beaches, I think, that's coming into the finish. Can't quite see the numbers on them, so as soon as we can see the numbers and the live feed comes through, we can let you know.
So now 14 boats back in total. So Port Hacking, their open men's team, are home in 1 hour 51. Singapore Paddle Club were 13th. Their open men's team in 1 hour 50.
Oh, they'll be really, really pleased with that. Good on them. They've sent a lot of teams over here, so to support the event, they've sent men and women's teams here. So yeah, lovely to have them.
So in 12th place, a Kaika open men's team in 1 hour 49. And just recapping those senior Masters men's teams. So Cronulla in 10th place overall, but winning their category in 1 hour 47.29. And Mooloolaba in second place there in the senior Masters men's in 1 hour 48.22. So still waiting on a third place in the senior Masters men. There's numerous crews out there in that category.
That was a big category. There was, I believe there was 11 teams in that category, which is huge. It just shows that the sport is growing. It's been around for a little over, pushing 30 years in Australia. But this, if you started when you're 20s, you're now in your 50s. So there's a lot of older categories. And we need to try and get those juniors and the opens to come back in so we can keep sport young.
So, no, tell us what happens next for these crews. Where are they off to?
A shower and a beer.
What are their short-term goals? What's coming up apart from celebrations tonight? So where are the next big events?
Well, a lot of people, obviously, this is the beginning of our marathon season, so we still got the long distance racing all the way up until May. So then we've got national titles in May. So then people will come from all over, and that's a national title marathon. So that's a couple races in there. So anywhere between 22 and 26 miles on that particular race.
And the national marathon, where's that being held?
It's going to be in Mooloolaba this year. So that's in May.
Okay.
And then, of course, you've got your World Sprints now, which is going to Tahiti in July.
So more teams have finished. In 15th, Bondi, their Masters men in 1 hour 52.41. 1 hour 52 and 41 seconds. In 16th place, Northern Beaches Senior Masters men. So
there's your third one.
They are in third place. 1 hour 52.58, and that was close. Port Hacking right behind them in the Senior Masters men in 1 hour 53.26. Then followed by another Kaika team, an open men's team, in 1 hour 54.16. So they have finished in 18th place.
And that's 3 boats in already from Ikaika as well. So
yeah. So if you have just joined us, what a fabulous day of racing. And the first three, or the first two, just terrific to watch.
What a race. I was so happy to be able to actually watch that from here and from the boat. So it was, great race to pick up any pointers if you wanted to, just to see how relaxed and how focused they were.
Team Red Bull.
Brilliant race, yes.
Team Red Bull defending their title from 2017. The boys from Hawaii.
There would have been a bit of pressure on them to do that. I mean, to come over here to perform, to be the ambassadors for Hawaii and for their club, so for their team.
Well, have a look who's just arrived. The boys are in the house. What a fantastic effort. And they'll be joining us live on camera in just a few moments' time. Team Red Bull in 1 hour, 35:56. So we're about to go to our man who's been on the water all day and has just done a superb job. Hopefully he'll come join us in the studio as well to talk to some of the boys. Kalai, who's been on the water, or as we like to call him, Mr. Smooth.
Yeah, thanks, Kalai. He's been great.
Yeah. In fact, we'll go to him now for a full recap of the race. Red Bull in first place, Pacifica second, Cronulla third. And let's go to our man on the water.
Hey, just want to say congratulations again to all the paddlers out in Sydney Harbor today. It was neat to see how the weather changed, how the amount of boats on the water changed. Just great racing all day long and a monumental effort from all of our paddlers today. Good on you, as they say here. Want to send a special congratulations out to our defending champions in the men's division, Team Red Bull VA, who is going to be in our studio shortly with you, giving you a breakdown of their race. Typically kind of reserved guys down there, and we'll be lucky to get the most we can out of them. But monumentous effort from them. Way to just kind of leave a little bit of the tank, open it up at the end. But I really think the story is not only how great they paddled, but how amazing of a job Pacifica did. I mean, those young guys out of there are building a killer team, a killer club, and they really laid down an exceptional performance today and should be walking around the Manly area tonight with heads held high. Again, congratulations out to everybody. Thank you for joining us, everyone at home, for this amazing 2018 Sydney Harbor Challenge. Certainly a different race than it was last year, and we're looking forward to bringing it to you again next year. Until next time, I'm Kalai from right here in Manly Cove. And as we in Hawaii, hoi pa.
Kalai on the water, and here we are in the studio, and the winning team. Now, people have said I do it too much, but I think these guys, they deserve a standing O. Let's go up as one in the studio.
What a race, boys.
Thank you.
Yeah, with the microphone. Trey Cox, tell us about this outstanding team, and let's not forget that you were really challenged by Pacifica. It was a great race.
Oh, definitely. All the way up and all the way back, we had a good battle with them. We must have hit each other a good 20 times, but a good duke all the way out and all the way back. We only pulled a little gap once we got closer to the finish, but they definitely kept us honest the entire race, pushing the whole time for sure.
Just tell us about your crew. Let's go through seat by seat, and the boys, they might want to throw a shout out to the international audience that's watching back home.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. You know, we're stoked to have all our families and everything support us from back home. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. Obviously, the support from Red Bull, our manager, Uncle Mike, and the 2XU, Viper Paddles, everybody I'm forgetting to, Kanan, Olukai, yeah. So we're stoked to have them supporting us, getting us here. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. To start off in the crew, we got our stroker back here, Puni, or on the other side, yep, over here, Caleb. He's holds it down for us up front, and Kainoa right here sitting in two, our hammers, and then you got me and Kua behind me. We hold down the middle, powerhouse, and then we got Keikoa, who you guys have seen quite a bit today, and then Hamaku too, our Tahitian steersman. So he had to mix it up a little bit, throw a little Tahitian style in there, give some rubbing, but rubbing's racing for sure.
You know, Pacifica, they threw plenty at you. They tried to get you on the inside early. They sat him behind you. Then they tried to get you on the outside. I mean, but you answered every challenge.
No, for sure. Like, we were trying to find our pace and just be able to walk away from them, but we couldn't do it. Every time they'd come, show a nose, we'd have to press. Every time we thought we were good, they'd come right back up on us on the other side. So it was definitely fun to get a challenge with all the international clubs because we don't get to see them too often.
Yeah.
We do a lot of local races, so it's good to just go mix it up with everybody else in the world.
Let's, because it's an international audience, let's maybe pass the microphone around for a shout out to all the families back home.
Sounds good. So I'll make a shout out to my little Earl IV and my wife, so they're guaranteed at home watching for sure.
So we'll pass the microphone around here.
How's it again? Yeah, without our support from our family, this wouldn't be possible. I mean, Tiara, Kalia, and all of our families, even the people that are completely behind the scenes, without them, none of this would be possible. So thank you, everybody, and thank you, Hawaii, for supporting us.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you to my family, my friends, and everybody we got at home backing us up and supporting us.
I want to thank my other half, Toshua, and my son and my daughter. Thank you guys for letting me train hard for this race.
Thank you guys, and thank you to my family in Tahiti and all of my friends in the world. Thank you so much. Thank you, Uncle Mike.
Yeah, thank you for Uncle Mike for getting us here. And Grandma back home, how's it going? We did it.
Yeah, have a look at the guy beside me. Look at the shoulders. Look what a unit he is. Congratulations, guys. Have you enjoyed racing in Sydney?
Oh, awesome. You know, we got blessed with good weather this year. Last year, it was almost complete fog out. We couldn't see anything. So really cool to just see the different elements. Still had some wind, but definitely some nice weather for sure.
I've got to say, Nona feels like a mother figure here. Like, she's done the Molokai 20 times, and she's known you guys since you were younger, and you're so proud of what the boys have done.
Oh, I'm wrapped.
She definitely caters for us when we get here. Makes it easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, when do you head back home?
It's tomorrow night. So we'll race tomorrow morning, but we had a little mishap. We were supposed to come in Thursday, but kind of got pushed back. So we came in last night, and we leave tomorrow afternoon. So short one.
Fly in, fly out.
We'll just recap what unfolded. In fact, we're waiting for some instructions from our producer. We might be getting the wind-up right now, but let's... So we're just hearing that we want to close it with Sharkers, do whatever you want to throw it out back home to everyone in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And let's give it up again for the winning team.
Yeah.
Team Red Bull in 2018 defending their title.
Boy, Thanks, guys.
Yeah, great to be a part of.